So, as I've said many times, and I think you've heard me say this, I always joke, I'm Catholic, but I'm also Jew-ish, as in ish. And I've made that joke because growing up, I grew up fully aware that my grandparents were Jewish, came from a Jewish family, and they were refugees to Brazil. And that was always the story I grew up with, and I've always known it very well.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about newly elected GOP House Rep George Santos up there in New York, who just flipped a blue seat to red, now being accused of being a liar. And a lot of top Democrats in the House are saying, hey, that guy should resign. He should not take office in January because he's a liar. He lied about this, that, and the third. How can you trust this guy? How can this guy be in any kind of role of leadership? How can he be a lawmaker? To that, I say, this whole thing is a bit time nothing burger. There's two main things that I've been able to see, and if I'm wrong about anything, y'all please let me know in the comments. The first thing was about him, quote unquote, lying about being Jewish. Now, his grandparents are Jewish, so he said he might be kind of Jew-ish. Like, okay, your Meemaw is Jewish, and you might have been raised in a household next to her, so you may feel some kind of kinship to that. And of course, it's in your bloodline and your lineage. So is that really a lie? I'm not really sure. You know what's a lie? Now, some are going to say, ABL, that's whataboutism. Doesn't matter. You know what's a lie? Is Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, talking about she's Native American, saying so on her applications for jobs and whatnot, going all the way back to the 70s when she was a teacher in college and up until this day. And even in the face of all that, she didn't come out and say anything like what George Santos did. She came out and said, well, I'm 1024th Native American. It's like, really? Come on. You are whiter than most white Americans. You might as well be a whole European, but different story. I digress. The point is, anybody calling for Pocahontas to resign, I didn't even call for her to resign over that. She should maybe resign because of her political stuff, her actual policies, not because she lied about being Native. Same thing with your man Joe Biden talking about, oh, I was raised by the black community, by the Hispanic community. Okay, I know roaches and I got hair on my legs, and you know I was in this place, I was in that place, I was in the war, I was in space, you know, all kind of just ridiculous stuff he said over the years, and nobody trying to say he should resign because of the lies, like some of those little things about his past. We say he should resign because he's not doing a good job in America. So why would anybody on the right say that this guy should resign? Now, before I go any further into it, we have video, of course. We got more video so you can see, get a little bit more context into what's happening. And of course, all videos will be in the description box below.
I didn't outright lie. So I worked as a customer service agent for 6-7 months of my life.
Now, let's pause right here. Now, there was a quote unquote lie. The first one was about being Jewish. The other one was about him working for Citigroup and Goldman Sachs, but he worked for a company that serviced them. And he'll probably explain that right here.
Life or so, 8 maybe, if at some point in 2011, 2012. I'm still qualified. I still understand what I'm doing. That nobody can take away from me. So for everybody who's ever interacted with me, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it. I've never, ever not done something I said I'd set out to do.
I'm going to try to find this full interview for you guys and link it in the box as well. This is like a little highlight version of it.
Did I embellish my resume? Yes, I did. And I'm sorry. And it shouldn't be done. And there's words can't express 100% how I feel. But I'm still the same guy. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a cartoon character. I'm not some mythical creature that was invented. I'm no Russian puppet. I mean, for crying out loud, Putin could really go pound sand right now and or be dug under it. I don't care. Like I said, I am not all these horrific things that.
Oh, this guy's also LGBT, married to a man. Just a little aside. You know, because that's going to be things that they mention. They're going to talk about his background and whatnot. Is really this, is really that. He is really LGBT, married to a man. I don't see a lot of lies here. It's just kind of, like I said, embellishing. Now, would I embellish my resume? Not necessarily, but that's not uncommon. It's very common in America, especially.
are being said about me. Now, the one thing I will say is I'm sorry for having had a life, for having had a complicated life. Oh, maybe I married. Yeah, I did marry young, and I married a young woman at the time, and we pretty much were in love, and then we weren't, because guess what? I decided after a long time, like many who don't, to come out and say, I'm gay and I'm not going to lead you along. And this is toxic and this relationship isn't going to work. And I set myself free and I set her free. But I challenge all 434 members of Congress, aside myself, in the House, to go through the same litany test I just went through last week.
So I guess they're trying to say it wasn't even gay because he was married to a woman before. But that's complete BS. Like, nobody really, because I done seen plenty of women out here that got kids, not just one or two, a whole family of kids, and then get married to a woman or become LGBT after that point. So how'd you get all them kids? How you get this 18-year-old basketball player, this 6'8" LeBron James looking character over here? How'd you get that guy if you are LGBT? How did that happen? And it was a natural birth and no adoption. What happened? People change. Things happen. They come to realizations. That's why your man, Caitlyn Jenner, also known as Bruce, can have a whole football team of kids and then at 75 years old become a woman. You understand what I'm saying? 6'3", big crazy feet, and a used car salesman voice. All right, I'm Bruce Jenner. You understand what I'm saying? And also, that's something else. A lot of these people in the federal government will present themselves as a woman, but I'm looking at Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Arn Anderson. I'm looking at WWE professional wrestlers, but they say they're women. So can we say that they're lying and they're not presenting themselves as who they really are? This is an attack on him because he flipped a blue seat to red in New York. That's really the bottom line, in my humble opinion. That's why they wanted to resign, because they want that seat to go back to red. It's all about politics. It's all about trying to gain power and control. If this was a Democrat doing this exact same thing, nobody would care. It wouldn't even be a story.
Open yourselves up to the media. Let them dig deep and pull in your deepest secrets. If we did that, we wouldn't have a single congressman in the House. And I bet you we wouldn't have a single senator in the Senate.
Do I wish you a happy Hanukkah or a Merry Christmas?
So, as I've said many times, and I think you've heard me say this, I always joke, I'm Catholic, but I'm also Jew-ish, as in ish. And I've made that joke because growing up, I grew up fully aware that my grandparents were Jewish, came from a Jewish family, and they were refugees to Brazil. And that was always the story I grew up with, and I've always known it very well. And I've told it the way it was told to me. Now, if it just strikes me so odd that people are rushing to disinherit me from being Jewish, or for even allowing to care for Israel and Judaism in a time and era where anti-Semitism is at an all-time rise.
Are there people, I'm sure there are, what do you say to them that are going to hold this against you and say that they can't trust you because of these exaggerations that you've made?
They were able to trust worse people. They were able to trust.
Go ahead and say it. I know you might not want to name names, but go ahead and say it. You kind of hesitated right there. You might want to say Joe Biden, Pocahontas, or whatever. Go ahead and say what you got to say, man. Like, let it all hang out at this point. Ain't no point in trying to hide. Ain't no point in trying to, you know what I'm saying, censor yourself. Just go ahead and say what you got to say, boss.
Andrew Cuomo, who sexually harassed women throughout his entire career. They were able to trust Tish James, who harbored a sexual predator as her chief of staff. They were able to trust a litany of politicians in this country who have literally sold this country out. Look at the president of the United States. It's not over. I am not resigning. I am getting sworn in, and I will get the job done for you. That's what you elected me to do. I'm sorry for the headaches, but life now moves forward, and we will have a good 2 years. And I make you a promise of that.
Well, there you have it. So shout out to my man for not backing down. Don't back down. What's the point in backing down from these people who will tell you any kind of lie? These politicians have some nerve trying to attack him for quote unquote being a liar. I mean, the things that he quote unquote lied about were nothing. I mean, his work history, who doesn't lie about that on the resume? Again, that's not really me because I'm not into corporate America, all that kind of stuff, but everybody does that. I'm talking about big whopper lies too, not even just misrepresentations or exaggerations. Like, okay, you got 15 years of experience of being a doctor, but you're not really a doctor. Okay, like that type of stuff goes on all the time. People in jobs they have no experience with, still getting paid a bunch of money. Your man Hunter Biden, how did he get on the job at Burisma Holdings, getting paid $50,000 per month to be on the board of an energy company when he had just been discharged from the military for being a crackhead with no experience in energy at all? How did he get to that position? So I'm not trying to hear anybody talking about, oh, well, he lied and he should be fired, please. Like the stuff he's talking about, he said he was Jewish, but he got Jewish grandparents. That's better than Pocahontas, who's white as snow. Okay, you straight from the Nordic Sea talking about you Pocahontas. It's like, man, come on. Like, as I close, I want to say this. This is a big time nothing burger. No, we shouldn't resign. Stay strong. If anybody in Congress, anybody in D.C., anybody wants to say this guy should resign, all right, let's do an audit on your life and let's see what we come up with. Let's see what skeletons you just, can just yank out the closet and see what you got going on. See if everything said about yourself lines up 100%. Now, I'm not advocating people should be liars and that's just what was going on, but I think what's going on here is it's not much happening there. I mean, that's really not a whole lot. And I'm going to add one last point. I know you guys may have been saying it in the comments so far, but I'm going to add this one last point. Since when did identifying as a thing that you may not be, since when was that a bad thing to the left? Huh? Why can't I identify as being Jewish or black or white or Puerto Rican or Candy Stripe? Why can't I identify as that if I'm not exactly that? Especially when I got Jewish grandparents. Why can't I identify as that? If I was a white man sitting right here and I had black grandparents, why can't I say I'm black? My grandma black, why can't I be black? You see what I'm saying? So this whole thing is just an effort to get him out of office because he flipped that seat from red to blue. I mean, pardon me, from blue to red. That's the whole thing. They don't want him to be in power. They want to just maintain power for themselves. So they got to attack that man to get him out of the way. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about George Santos? Should he resign? Should he stay in office? How do you feel about the things that he said, the lies or the embellishments or whatever you want to call it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys should pretty much know where I'm at. This is a big time nothing burger. Do not resign. Do not step down. Do not back down. Stand up to the bully. Stand up to the mob, because for all the stones they want to throw at you, 1,000 more can be thrown right back in their direction. Those who live in glass houses most certainly should not throw stones. The Democratic Party looking at you square in the eyes. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.